Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. We've got another of our segments of company executives on news, and we like on this show to be able to have fresh news and go beyond the news release to give better clarity to the audience. And I sure hope my whole audience is following 9 Mile Metals. Nine is their symbol on the Canadian Securities Exchange. Today, they had some exceptional results out from a property that I kind of, I'm really pumped about their 9 Mile Brook lens of massive sulphides that they hit. But then they drilled 20 kilometers away on a geophysical anomaly, hit two 10-meter intersections, with grades ranging from about 7% zinc up to over 40% lead zinc combined. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Allan. It's always nice to report good results to our shareholders and our followers.
Yeah, well, these, I'm blown away. I mentioned to someone that I'm kind of somewhat speechless, and that's very difficult to do to me for a few reasons. Why don't I run down those reasons and we can go into them better. One is obviously the grade. Two is this work that you're getting done by EarthX, their expert systems that are filtering out the noise and helping you guys target the massive sulphides, and they're 2 for 2. And then that this is in a world-class, one of the world's most important VMS mining jurisdictions. You're an elephant country and you're finding what looks like part of an elephant.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully we have the right artillery as well. I do believe we do, and I know I speak for Gary that we believe in this technology, and more importantly, not just the EarthX technology, but our complete advanced process that we use for all our projects, and it's proving. I'm also speechless a little bit, which is similar to yourself. I mean, take a snapshot, you might never see it again, but yeah, I'm speechless on California Lake. I mean, obviously we believe in the quality of our projects in our portfolio of 9 Mile, but you got to remember our purpose on this drill program, the initial one at California Lake, we only used a reprocessed Aerodet Megatem data set that's available to the public that the government issues, and had EarthX reprocess that with their proprietary algorithms and their interpretation. And we use that from a blind first pass, very shallow, because we're not going to risk shareholder capital in a deep program without doing our advanced model, which is the low cavity drone UAV. That'll do that at very close spacing on the mag and the different geophysics, and then also doing our ground-based IP or EM. So we did a very high in the system drill program, within 80 to 100 meters maximum. And as you know, in our previous press releases, we had to do 2 orientation holes just to get a look underground. And with the Bathurst camp, it's very twisted and folded and upside down. So you don't know until you physically drill to see what you've got without doing the high level geophysics. But we were just so ecstatic to hit 7 out of 8 VMS holes, and we just clipped the side on one. But we're just doing our step outs, and we will now definitely go back and do phase 2 with our advanced system with the UAV drone, the ground-based IP and EM grids, and then we'll look deeper for the source. But more importantly, we believe, and talking to the government, this is the 1.5 kilometer anomaly we believe is connected. So this is a very, very nice result for us. And if you remember, with California Lake, our main targets are the west side of California Lake, that real big high priority V. But that does, we know right away, we got to fly our advanced program on that immediately. But the extension of the California landing, Canoe Landing Lake Formation that comes up from Canoe Landing deposit continued on the east. So we wanted to test that, and yeah, we couldn't be happier with the results. And I'm sure when we share these results, hopefully you're just as speechless. Maybe it'll be a bad week for you, Allan, or a quiet week from you.
No, I never stay quiet for too long. You know what really stood out to me, guys, is that prior to drilling, we did an interview, and you were kind enough to share with us some of the geophysical data before filtering and after filtering. And I was really impressed on how you could make what looked like a very noisy geophysical anomaly. Then they processed that data, and it came out like a string of pearls. Now you've drilled into that string of pearls, and you're hitting massive sulfides, which the first question I thought of when I saw those results is, damn, are all these things connected?
Gary, I'll let
Yeah,
you
I mean,
share some
this is where we're going to
information.
get into like detailed geophysics. Get the drone on this, and then like Patrick said, IP or EM to really nail down some targets. But things start to look like they're connecting up. It's when you look at some of the detail along the trend of California Lake, it's just like you said, just like a string of pearls. Yeah,
It's like this, and there's like got to be over 10 of those.
yeah. And we've seen that typical in some of our other data, where you get those little nodes and things pinching, and yeah.
And that's off reprocessed data done on wide line spacing of the geophysics. Now you're going to be able to go in there right on top of the surface, tighten in those line spacing, and get better resolution close to surface and at depth.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, there was I believe, what was the megatemp? 200-meter line spacing, and aerodap was similar. I mean, and you almost think you're throwing darts, but I mean, historically you probably were, but now with the processing they can do, it tightens it up nicely, and then you go to an advanced program. Well, we should be able to have really good results. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I, because I mean, to find new VMS hits in a camp that's been around as long as the Bathurst mining camp has been, and you know, with all the mines in that jurisdiction, to find fresh new massive sulfides is pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's very much so.
And then when you get that metal, the amount of massive sulfides in there is, what was one piece of core was 95% massive sulfides.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's 95, and that's assuming you can see maybe some silica in there. But it is massive sulfide. It's classic Bathurst.
But, you know, then again, putting it into context, you know, this ground's been around for a long time. And there's been guys walking around there and doing lots of work, and a testament to the work that you guys are doing with your EarthX and your own team, or the combination of your team, is quite impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible. This at California Lake, and like I was telling you earlier, we're a little pressed for time. So what we did with the California Lake holes with our internal XRF process is we really analyzed the visible VMS sections, and we're assaying, sending to the labs. It's really like finger zones. And in between, we did an XRF. We XRF'd the visible VMS zones, but when we sent in everything to the lab for certification, we'll be able to give everybody the true widths and the assays in between and so on. So
Plus precious
yeah,
metals.
pretty incredible. Because remember, these are vertical, but when we drilled, we clipped through several zones. You know, some holes had 6 zones. So it's I can't wait to get back on the ground in phase 2 and go for the source of this. And we think, you know, vertically up and on an angle, we've clipped through it, but we obviously weren't going to drill deep without the advanced geophysics to try to find the source. And there obviously is a source to everything. So
Yeah.
we're pretty excited for the future of the California program on the east side, which is very interesting.
That's a good analogy. And, you know, now you got to look for the hand. But you found some pretty impressive fingers.
Yeah, you know, it's like lining up and showing us the road, hopefully, right? So, but that trend, Gary, I don't know if you have an image there while we're speaking.
Here, let
that
me,
trend is,
I got to share screen. There are multiple. If you want to share screen, you're able to now.
yeah, there's, if Gary, if you want to bring up the drill area, and then share it. But we had a drill zone area, and then the whole trend is 1.5 kilometers long. And after meeting with the government post, you know, the government always comes in and we share our core and try to work backwards from the structural geology and how it's formed and what we've seen for showing a shape of the body, etc. And always great partnership with the government and Jim Walker and the Department of Energy and Mines there in Bathurst, the experts on how this formed. I mean, you're looking at rock that no one's seen in 470 million years. It's pretty incredible.
That's what I mean. And to have found it with geophysics, I mean, I don't know if people understand. I've been in this business for nearly, 30 years next year. In about 8 months, it'll be 30 years. I've drilled, I've been part of drilling geophysical anomalies. Gary, you're laughing because you have as well. To be able to go in there and 2 for 2 tag massive sulfides off of geophysical anomalies at surface is just off the charts. You're not supposed to do this.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. And Gary was commenting with me a couple of weeks ago, going, for a first pass, you know, a shallow first pass on it was a real test for EarthEX in our process, because really, I mean, you shouldn't have that type of success. I mean, you'd be lucky if you had one hole that gave you some smoke or some sniffs of sulfides.
Exactly.
But to actually hit a system 7 out of 8, and we have 3 nice surprise potential gold target that was a special bonus target that wasn't part of this, so we drilled that, and that's all in for rush assay. You know, this is further cements our belief in our process and our partnership, and this new technology will create a fruit of a lot of new deposit discoveries in the Bathurst camp. Really firmly believe that.
You know, with my explorationist hat on, you know, the industry has gone through sort of big stages of technological advancement that made a difference. And, you know, maybe people looking at a company with a $13 million valuation doesn't really get that you guys are on the cutting edge of doing some remarkable things. To be able to go in there with geophysics, filter that noise down, pinpoint where to drill, find massive sulfides, and further enhance the quality of that filtering and vectoring method. You know, you're a little company that's not supposed to do that.
That's what I keep telling Gary. I go, you know, because now it's, you know, the hard thing is trying to find sulfides or a deposit or any kind of mineralization when you're not starting from outcrop or something where you've got a starting point to go into an area and just, yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's still to me is a bit shocking in how far we've taken this process. And, you know, we spent many years on this perfecting it with EarthX. But Gary has that 30, 40-year field experience all over the world, and he's like, I just can't believe that. And now we have 1.5 kilometers of strike, and we'll
Right.
fly the drone over this. It's a very small area for the drone. Like we just did 1,000 line miles at 9 Mile Brook, right?
Right.
25 meters going down 3D, etc., for the upcoming drill program. And then process that with new targets and so on, including our existing targets. But I just can't wait to get California Lake, the whole California Lake, to that stage for next year. It's going to be exciting next year, obviously.
Well, and that also brings up the topic of now this isn't the only targets. Your lens over at 9 Mile Brook and your California Lake string of VMS pearls there aren't your only targets based on the work that EarthX is doing. So that enhances all of the targets that they're finding for you guys.
Yes, yeah, very much.
So, you know, I mean, just even going back to the 9 Mile Brook area, you know, you've got one hinge, not very far over, you've got another hinge. You know, this just makes you froth at the mouth to want to get in there and drill every damn target.
Yeah, you know, in a real fantasy world, we've had unlimited resources of cash. They just drill all the time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're being very prudent, and I'm excited for. Again, I'll bring it back to the process, but economic exploration. If we can apply this technology to our project, complete project area, and find our targets, and then only expend the money on the targets, just think of the capital that we should be able to save and how effective our exploration programs or anybody's program would be if you're not spending 5 years and spending money all over the project when you know there's not targets all over the project. But this is a way, like I said, we've taken a 5-year process to 12 to 18 months complete.
Yeah.
And we're identifying targets, and we are having results on these targets. I mean, I'm excited because don't forget, these algorithms continue to improve, and the actual technology continues to improve every month, right? So it's an ever evolving AI system. So I'm just excited to give back the technology and the results from our program to get reprocessed and see what it comes back with, what, you know, in the 3D and everything, and tells us what we have and where part 2 is and where we should go for the source, and then we'll organize the drone and the rest of our advanced process for the east and the west side of California for 2023.
Well, that brings up a topic of California Lake of, okay, so you've got this string of massive sulfide pearls there, and if there's a potential that they're all connected, this massive sulfides right at surface, which would be the top of the system, suggests that you've got a very powerful VMS mineralizing system.
Yeah, I mean, we're near, like, we've got good geophysics there. You're near Canoe Landing Lake deposit. There's all kinds of deposits scattered around on the periphery of this, and this is a big structural zone that's I think rarely been looked at. There's been like at 9 Mile Brook, it's all old historical types of exploration. On the ground in there, you can see all various lines. There's a lot of line cutting, a lot of other work, but using like EarthX to nail it down, that's sort of magic right now.
Well, could you imagine, Gary, if you were going on that 200-meter line spacing with all that noise, you could have been right beside it and missed it.
Especially in this camp where things are, you know, bending, twisting, and turning. All you need is it to do a little hockey stick move, and you could drill and just totally miss the target.
And so to be able to filter the noise and vector in, you know, could you imagine this technology 50 years ago in that camp?
Yeah, and you can go through, like, there's a lot of old assessment reports here, and I mean, if you've been in the business long enough, you know what it's like with the old MEG and VLF data. And this is what we saw at 9 Mile Brook, like trenching soils, all that, and it was almost, it's just such a general pass right now. With the technology and the reprocessing available, we can really prioritize targets, and you're not wasting shareholder money sort of drilling blind.
Well,
There will
Gary,
be some misses, of course, but your chances of hitting now are a lot better.
could you imagine even 10, even 5 years ago, if someone came up to you and said, hey, Gary, I've got this geophysical filtering method that I can get rid of all the noise and give you a 100% chance of hitting massive sulphides in an elephant country camp. What would you have said to that guy?
Yeah, I know. There's everybody's got the magic black box, but this is proving itself. And besides the reprocessing, there's a lot of interpretation involved too. And it's, you know, pulling in other data and just thinking it through. And like Patrick said, we're sort of sticking to our method and not wavering. We just keep marching along. And sometimes it's fast and sometimes it's slow, but at the end, we just want the result.
And now, well, slow is a relative term. I mean, to say go in and drill 2 massive sulfide occurrences in your first 2 drilling programs over a 3-month period, some would say that's the speed of light. You know, it's I just can't believe the ability to tag massive sulfides like that.
Yeah. No, I know.
Gary, did you find that image?
No, nothing. I'd have to generate one. I don't have anything static.
That's okay. You know, now that the other nice thing about this work is that now you get to try to figure out the whole system.
Yes. Yeah,
there's our image there, Allan.
Yeah.
So this is what we drilled, and really we drilled right where this yellow dot is, but you can see this system's 1.5 kilometers long.
Yeah.
And we believe, and Gary can talk about it, that there was a shearing, and it is that, you know, it does extend all the way down to the border. But again, this is what we spoke earlier, right? This is the priority, right?
Wow.
Look at that. With the red, it's a strong late time conductance signature, and yellow is medium. But yeah, you can see all the nodes on the outside, and this is just reprocessing. And when you see the megatem, it just looks all blurry and fuzzy. This is reprocessed from the old data, which is shocking. And then what we'll do is fly the drone over this whole area here and this whole area, and also this guy down here. And then we'll be able to get some really high definition 3D modeling, and then obviously make a run at that next year.
It looks like you've got 2 structures there coming together.
Yeah, if you look at the geology, that's a contact here.
Yeah.
And this is a different rock formation, so they do look independent.
Huh. Yeah. Wow. And so in California Lake, first quarter, you think you'll get back there, or what do you think? You might have your hands full at 9 Mile Brook.
Well, that's the plan, isn't it? We will be hands full.
Yeah.
Good. Well, good on you guys. You know, it takes some courage to. I cut my teeth in a lot of years of doing diamond exploration, and because it was so new in Canada, you were, you know, trying to make changes to exploration methodology on the fly. And, you know, sometimes people would think you're crazy. So, you know, good on you guys to be using some cutting edge stuff and having such success with it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun right now when we're drilling and hitting.
Yeah. You know, sleep would be a nice luxury these days,
I
you know, but it's, you know, it's a very exciting time for us, right? And hopefully for the shareholders and investors and our followers are just as excited and biting at the bit to get going on 9 Mile. Just can't wait.
Patrick, Gary was telling me you haven't sequestered there for a couple months in the camp. Is he going to get a leave of absence?
I did get a leave of absence, come home for a little bit there and try to sleep. But no, I just, you know, it's like a kid in the candy store. I just would love to be back on the ground very, very shortly. So, but yeah, we'll have to keep in touch and this is an ongoing story. And, you know, I wish the markets would be a little bit more forgiving, but we're used to swimming upstream. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of the markets, it's an interesting time right now, but ultimately you keep finding massive sulfides in an elephant country camp like you're in Bathurst there, and sooner or later your phone's going to ring, Patrick, and you're going to look at it like, is this a prank? Who's calling me? Because there's smart people out there that understand these VMS systems.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do everything in our power to have a successful stage 2 at 9 Mile, obviously our flagship, and we've put a lot of advanced geophysics and even right now just tying up the last couple, like right down to the wire. So we're still getting data in right now today. We'll hopefully be delivering a nice Christmas present to people, eh?
Well, I hope it turns out to be Allan's hinge there that is the source of that lens that's 10 meters thick with 10% copper in it.
Well, and you know, it's a good point you bring that up because, you know, the difference with the lens was we got the black cerussite and so on, and the black chlorite and the cerussite in the vent there, and the lens, you see the grades on the lens and the difference from California Lake and the finger system, that'll have a source, but it just shows you the grades, like the coppers and everything is so high grade and consistent through it. We are, like the government says, we are so close to that vent and chamber, like we just, you know, just can't wait to get going. Can't wait to share some news and some pre-drilling information and imagery and so on. I mean, we just can't wait to get started, honestly.
Well, I can't wait, and I would press you for more answers, but I like to sort of deal on a news release by news release basis. And here we've got some great stuff to talk about at California Lake, and on the heels of that, you've got some exciting work happening at 9 Mile Brook, and we'll hopefully have another interview soon to talk about the lens that you're looking for, the source of that lens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for inviting us again. As a pleasure as always, and anytime, and keep in touch, and we'll always come back to you and share whatever we can.
Well, I sure like talking to guys that go out there and put the truth machine down and hit massive sulfides in an elephant country camp, Patrick and Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna close it off. You guys can listen in if you want, but thanks a lot for coming on the show again.
Cheers. Thanks for inviting, as always.
Thank you.
Well, there you go, folks. I was initially excited about the lens that they have, and you know, 10+ meter thick VMS lens with extreme high grade. has to come from somewhere. My initial reaction was it probably comes from the hinge in the rocks that are in close proximity. But then they added this California lake situation, and before they drilled, I was really impressed with the filtering that their EarthX Geophysics is doing, and I was paying a lot of attention to that. And now they've delivered more massive sulfides with exceptional grades in it. So now they've got two systems to understand. And, you know, to put that into perspective, to have a company that only has a 13 or 14 million dollar valuation that's in one of the top three massive VMS mining camps in the world is quite a unique thing in the business. And to be able to go 2 for 2 on your geophysical anomalies and then drill into them is a very rare situation in the mining exploration. So I think these guys are on to some very special stuff in this elephant country camp. And I think this valuation is ridiculously cheap. And they're drilling. They got a bunch of pending assays. It looks like they've got news flow till the cows come in for the foreseeable future. So stay in touch. I love getting in early on a story that I can see will evolve into something special. And that's what I think they have here. And it's in a phenomenal camp. And they're doing great work. So, you know, as always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to speak with your financial advisors and do your homework before making any investment decisions. One of the places you can do that homework is go to our my Rocks and Stocks News channel on YouTube and find the interviews that I've done with Patrick and Gary. And stay tuned for more interviews. Go to their website, look at their news releases. You can even go online and do some research because this is such an important camp for massive sulfides. There's been a lot of scientific papers, and that will help you with your homework as well. And I've done all that homework, and I'm extremely impressed with what I can see from the work in the past, the current work, what the truth machine is telling, and the grades of what they're hitting. So on that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.